Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hello, Janelle. Braden, appreciate the kind words. Can't wait to hear your thoughts late when you listen on demand later. But we've got some fun little contract stuff to talk about today with Quinnen Williams, the New York Jets. I know it impacts you and your team with Chris Jones, so a lot of stuff to get into. I've got some data that I think will help us out here in this regard that will kind of, I think, calm Jets fans down a little bit. Hopefully, that's kind of the idea of today's show, is to be able to calm Jets fans down a little bit. With some of the overreactions that I've seen here. So we're going to get started in just a few short seconds. I need to just do all of the normal stuff that I do behind the scenes, tweeting it out, doing all the promotional stuff. And so just give me just a second. I'm going to go on mute. I'm going to finish things up, and we can get started. Morning, Tuttle. Happy Tuesday? Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you. Didn't know what day it was there for a second. Go to the big screen here. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Gather around. Got a fun one here today. Guys, I have permission to share something before we get into the show that's completely unrelated to the show. I got to take better control of my desk here. I've got problems. I've got just a random cup here. I've got not one, but two soda cups on the desk. I've got my Stanley over here with the water. I've got the remote for the lights back there. My glasses are all over the place. I can't find my pen. I mean, you just got to take control of your work environment better than this. This is below average workplace management right now for me. Just unbelievable. Normally, I keep the desk very well organized. I know where everything is. I know the pen's normally next to the keyboard. I have access to be able to get to everything. Nah, I've lost it. I've lost control of the desk at the moment, and it's not going very well. So we're gonna give me a second. I'm gonna try to regain some level of control to this thing. This cup's gonna go over here. You know, Janelle, I just did a tweet about this. It was my tweet for the show. I said, but my overall takeaway, in the words of the Jets' new quarterback, relax. I said this. It's exactly what I said. It's exactly how I phrased the tweet. Decluttering area is important. Yes, it is. And I normally have like I have got a lot of stuff going on here. Like the trusty notebook, I always keep down below. Because look at this thing. This is a big note. You can't just have this on the desk. You have this on the desk, you're not going to be able to get anything done. So I keep it under the desk, and it's very achievable when needed. I've got a Nerf football down here, just in case you want to just hold the football while you're in a meeting or something. So I've got stuff. And I've got a great area underneath the desk. It's just the top of the desk. I got wires everywhere. All right, so give me 2 seconds here, and we're going to be right back to where we need to go. Let me just check one thing real quick. Okay, all right, here we go. Just going to set everything up. Okay, we are now ready to go. We are now ready to talk about Quinnen Williams and the New York Jets and whatever else you guys would like to talk about here on the show. I felt, we've been kind of striking a nice balance between newsy-related shows and, sort of evergreen type shows like the one we did yesterday on the schedule. We could have done that any day this week. So wanted to get back into a more a newsy style show here today and talk about the latest, and it's probably one of the biggest stories in the NFL right now. So we'll be mixing in some newsy stories when it's relevant, but I'm kind of been enjoying the growth of this show into the more evergreen, interactive, deep dives that we've been able to do on this show. Makes the shows a little bit longer. Initially, when we started doing this show, I thought, 20, 25 minutes at most, but we've now transitioned this into a live show, and doing more deep dives is something that I think will, in the long run, benefit the show a lot. So, but we'll get back to a more newsy style show here today. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. We'll push the button and we can get started. And welcome into the Tuesday edition of the TDN Daily podcast. Chris Schubert back with you here once again on the show. Hope everybody is having a great start to their Tuesday. We are going old school. We are going back to the newsy style show here today. We've got a major news topic that is going to be the focus of today's TDN Daily. We've got the live YouTube chat here ready to go. We've got you listening in the podcast feed, and you've got me talking about my New York Jets and the ongoing saga that took a little bit more of a twist yesterday in regards to Quinnen Williams and a long-term contract extension between he and the New York Jets. So we're going back to a more newsy style show here today, just a little bit of a one-off. We're just taking a little bit of a detour today. We've got a pretty big story in the National Football League when it comes to this Quinnen Williams contract situation, and also has an impact to other teams, right? I know the Chiefs and Chris Jones, they are keeping an eye on this as well, more than likely, and so a situation that could have ramifications throughout the National Football League. For those of you maybe airdropping into this situation, don't necessarily know about Quinnen Williams and his situation with the New York Jets. Quinnen Williams going to be a free agent at the end of next season, trying to work out a long-term contract extension with the New York Jets. Quinnen Williams playing on the fifth-year option this season, and so the Jets entering this offseason attempting to get a long-term deal done to keep their interior defensive lineman, their D-tackle in New York, in East Rutherford, New Jersey, for a very, very long time. It's also important to note that Quinnen Williams, entering his fifth year in the league, is only 25 years old. So a young pup in the National Football League, still has a lot of his prime left at his position. And this is a position that in recent years, in terms of draft classes, has not been a very fruitful group. There haven't been a lot of big names that come out of this group. But all of the guys that have gotten contract extensions this offseason come from a similar time period when these guys were all drafted. We have seen just this offseason, and again, I think it's important that we lay the base here and we discuss the parameters before we dive in specifically to the Jets situation with Quinnen Williams. Just this offseason, we've seen 3 interior defensive linemen, D-tackles, get massive contract extensions. Dexter Lawrence just got his, same building, across the hall, New York Giants, got a 4-year, $90 million deal from the Giants, $60 million of it guaranteed, I believe. Daron Payne also got a very similar deal to Dexter Lawrence, $90 million in total value. I believe that was also over 4 years. 4 years, $90 million, $60 million in guarantees, $46 million guaranteed at signing. Jeffrey Simmons of the Tennessee Titans also got a long-term deal at this position. 4 years. His is a little different. $94 million, new money, $47.83 million guaranteed at signing, $66 million in guarantees. And so you've got 26-year-old Jeffrey Simmons, you got 26-year-old Daron Payne, you got 26-year-old Dexter Lawrence, all getting massive 4-year, $90+ million contracts with guarantees in the 60s, fully guaranteed. Total guaranteed, fully guaranteed in the 45 to 50 range. And so now Quinnen Williams sits here. He's about to turn 26 at some point. I don't know when his birthday is. We're looking it up right now. He's going to turn 26 over the course of this season. Going to play under the fifth-year option. It is now the Jets' turn to be able to get this deal done. And I think when you look at this, sometimes it's very difficult to break through in these negotiations when you are the one, when you're maybe the only player at your position, or you're at a position that you're trying to reset the market, but it's been a while since the market has been reset, and there's a tough wall, there's a ceiling that you kind of have to break through, and there's some resistance that you meet in that regard. And the thing that brings me back to a place of being calm about this and assuming that the New York Jets are going to get this done is the framework is built for them. Jeffrey Simmons, Daron Payne, and Dexter Lawrence all laid the base level, the groundwork for the Jets and Quinnen Williams to get a deal done. Now, the saga, the twist in this story that has led us to this moment, to doing a show on this, because this has been a thing all offseason, is that Quinnen Williams, on his official Twitter profile, removed defensive. His Twitter bio earlier said defensive lineman for the New York Jets. He has now taken the New York Jets out of his Twitter bio, and it is now a bunch of just blanks. It is just a bunch of dashes that he has in there saying, I don't know where I'm going to play next season. There are also liked tweets from Quinnen Williams that show maybe where his mindset is, what he's thinking about, what he's looking for in a contract. Maybe he's looking, there's liked tweets of $25 to $30 million, $23 to $25 million. There's all sorts of different things that have been, floated out there as to what Quinnen Williams is thinking. But he liked a tweet a month ago that suggested he was looking for 23 to 25 million per year. Now, that would be more than what Jeffrey Simmons got per year, what Daron Payne got per year, and what Dexter Lawrence got per year. Lawrence and Payne, 22.5. Jeffrey Simmons, 23.5. 23 to 25. If you kick it to 24, he's now the highest per annual average value. He is the highest non-Aaron Donald player at the position. That might be where this can get bridged, right? Aaron Donald's contract is $31.6 million per year on an annual average value. Do not believe Quinnen Williams is going to reach that level of production. But I also think it's important when we're discussing this to put it statistically in context. And so I did some digging, and I've got some stuff here for you. Jeffrey Simmons, who we just mentioned, signing a 4-year, $94 million year extension, new money. This is what Quinnen Williams and Jeffrey Simmons 2022 seasons look like in comparison. I've got it over here on the second screen experience, so if you allow me, my eyes will be diverted this direction to make sure I quote the statistics properly. Jeffrey Simmons just got a 4-year, $94 million contract extension, all new money. Last season, 7.5 sacks, 14 QB hits, 53 total pressures, and 54 tackles on 840 defensive snaps. I'm going to read it again. Take note of the last number. 7.5 sacks, 14 QB hits, 53 total pressures, and 54 tackles on 840 defensive snaps. Quinnen Williams, part of a New York Jets pass rush rotation, a defensive line rotation. They rotate their guys in. 12 sacks, 28 QB hits, 52 total pressures, and 55 tackles on 690 defensive snaps. So over, 150 less snaps defensively than Jeffrey Simmons. Quinnen Williams got more sacks, double the amount of QB hits, only one less total pressure, and one more tackle. That is the dominance that is Quinnen Williams. Some of you might be sitting back and saying, whoa, Chris, wait a second. You're just looking at 2022. You're just comparing the last two seasons. That statistically was one of Quinnen Williams' best season, the 12 sack number, the first time that he had reached double-digit sacks. You're kind of cherry picking here a little bit. You're just looking at one season. Okay, fair. Let's look at the production from 2019 to 2022 for the following four players: Dexter Lawrence, Daron Payne, Jeffrey Simmons, Christian Wilkins. We also got Quinnen Williams' numbers in here as well. Here we go. Let's do this. Dexter Lawrence, 2,774 snaps, 16.5 sacks, 208 tackles, forced 4 fumbles from 2019 to 2022. Daron Payne, 3,181 snaps, 21 sacks, 233 tackles, 3 forced fumbles. Jeffrey Simmons, 2,655 snaps, 20 sacks, 179 tackles, 2 forced fumbles. Christian Wilkins, 2,683 snaps, 10.5 sacks, 271 tackles, 2 forced fumbles. Quinnen Williams, 2,249 snaps. Just on that alone, over 400 less snaps than the next closest guy. He's 900 snaps behind the highest guy, Daron Payne. He's 500 snaps behind Dexter Lawrence. 27.5 sacks for Quinnen Williams in that time range. 190 tackles and 4 forced fumbles. He's tied in forced fumbles. He's got the most sacks, clear by 6.5, and 190 tackles has him 4th on this list. But he's got 400, 500 less snaps than some of these guys. So statistically, Quinnen Williams is dominant. Anytime you throw up a chart that compares players at this position, he's the best guy at this position, not named Aaron Donald, and in some measures, he beats Aaron Donald at times. That is how good Quinnen Williams has been, and he's only 25, about to turn 26. This is, no doubt, slam dunk, gotta get done. And the statistics back it up. Philip in the chat says, give Williams $1 million more for total value and guaranteed money than Simmons. I don't think it's that easy. I don't think it's that simple of just beating Jeffrey Simmons by a little bit. But statistically, you see the argument that Quinnen Williams and his camp are clearly making. Do you see these numbers? Do you see these numbers on less snaps than everybody else? Even in your rotation, which at times I find very silly, right? I mean, I'll raise my hand up. I find the rotation very silly. Quinnen Williams is the best defensive player on the New York Jets. Hands down, bar none, he is the best and most important defensive player on the New York Jets. That's how impactful he is. But he's a part of this rotation where sometimes he's not on the field. I'll give you this as some context. Last season was the most snaps that Quinnen Williams has been on the field for as a percentage. He was on the field for 60.6% of snaps. Now, I haven't done this research. We're going to do it live here on the show. I know it's everybody's favorite thing. Let's look at what Jeffrey Simmons did. Last year for Jeffrey Simmons, a down year. The worst year since he's played at least 15 games in a season. 74.1 for Jeffrey Simmons in 2022. It was 85 in 2021. We'll continue this bit. Let's look at Daron Payne. Daron Payne, in terms of percentage of snaps, 86.8% of snaps on defense, Daron Payne is out there for. Dexter Lawrence, the guy right across the hall in the other building, last season, 83.3% of the snaps. Quinnen Williams is double-digit percentage of snaps, less than all of these guys, and he's putting up similar, if not better numbers in important categories. 27.5 sacks from 2019 to 2022. 6 more than the next highest guy. With, again, 2,200 snaps. And I just gave you the numbers of just what looked like last season. He's only on the field for 60% of the snaps as part of this rotation. And so to me, this is something that is very clearly going to get done. And the reason why, and I'm going to quote, I put it in the tweet, I'll quote it here again, we quoted it in the pre-show, in the words of the new Jets quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. The New York Jets have pushed all their chips in the middle for a win-now window. They've done it. By trading for Aaron Rodgers, by the pick swap, by all the stuff that they did, they have pushed all in to try to go for it right now. You don't think Joe Douglas and company realize that Quinnen Williams is one of the most important players if you are pushing all of your chips in the middle for an all-in window. You need Quinnen Williams on the field. Negotiations take time. Negotiations absolutely are a back and forth, a give and take. I want to make something very clear here. I know I've made it clear in the past. I don't know if it's been on this show, but I will use this platform right now to make sure that it's clear right now my position on this. I don't read a whole lot into players changing Twitter handles, changing Twitter bios, changing Instagram bios, changing Instagram profile pictures. I don't read a lot into that. It's part negotiating tactic. It's part, these guys all know that it's going to make noise and it can help sell that they're disgruntled, probably too strong of a word, but they're upset. They would like this to get done. They would like to be able to move on. And there is just so much evidence that we have where people do that. Lamar Jackson, folks, requested a trade from the team, tweeted about it. Did not change his Twitter bio to say no, quarterback for the blank. Tweeted that he requested a trade back in the beginning of March. He just signed a massive contract extension with Baltimore. So all of this is part of a game, part of a cycle to be able to get these contracts done. So I don't read anything into it. I've seen all the stories. 5 places Quinnen Williams can play next season if he's traded from the Jets. These 5 teams should be interested in Quinnen Williams if available. I've seen the tweets. Quinnen Williams would make the Detroit Lions a Super Bowl contender. I saw that headline this morning. I've seen all the noise that is around this. But RELAX. Joe Douglas has gotten a lot of praise over his time as the general manager of the New York Jets because he gets stuff done. Right? He always finds a way to get stuff done. This is going to get done. If everybody outside of the building, everybody outside of One Jets Drive can look at this and say Quinnen Williams is the most impactful defensive player that the New York Jets have, and all of the statistics, you think they've got less statistics than I do? You think they've got less information than I do? I shared just a elementary deep dive into the statistics on Quinnen Williams from the last couple of seasons. I could have gone deeper. I could have spent 2 hours down the rabbit hole, and I've gotten a ton of statistics for you that show how important Quinnen Williams is to the New York Jets, and also how impactful he is at that position. So my prediction, this is going to get done. And I think it's very, very clear where this is going to slot in. This is going to beat Jeffrey Simmons. It is going to beat Daron Payne. It is going to beat Dexter Lawrence. It might, in total value, eclipse Aaron Donald's $95 million. But from an annual average value perspective, it's going to come in below the $31.6 million. I think it's going to come in above 23.5. It's going to come in below 31. 25 to 28 is probably a nice range. Team has. And so they need him to be on the field and ready to go, and they need him in training camp. And again, it is May 16th. I think in surrounding this, I'm not that concerned about it. I know everybody freaks out. And the funny thing to me is everybody still freaks out when guys change their Twitter handles or guys change their Instagram bios. And they go, oh, what does this mean? And I would pump the brakes on this. I would calm down. We've seen time and time again where this becomes a thing. And Philip says in the chat, Jets have some cap shenanigans to deal with in 2024, but 2025 onward, there is a ton of cap space. And let's do this. You guys know me. You guys know I love to do a little cap deep dive. Next season's a little bit difficult. It's $42.1 million that they are above the cap. So they're going to have to do some work there. But they have $174 million, so $174.8 million in cap space currently for 2025. So they would have to get through some shenanigans in 2024, but they've got a lot in 2025. And let's do it real quickly. We'll look at 2024. What quick things can I do here to get the Jets some money? I just made one quick move. Let's see. Let me see how many quick moves I can make here. I made a post June 1 cut. So just let me see what else I've got here at my disposal. They don't have a ton of stuff. I'll be honest with you, but could they restructure this? They could restructure that. This is probably great for the audio audience, but just give me a second here. All right. So here's what I did. I did 3 quick moves. I designated C.J. Mosley as a post June 1 cut. I restructured Laken Tomlinson, and I restructured DJ Reed, and I got the Jets from being $41 million above the cap to only being $8.9 above the cap, and I made 3 moves. So they're going to be able to figure this out. And I only took away $4 million in their cap space from 2025. They're still at $175 million. So they're going to be able to get this done. They're going to be able to figure this out from a math perspective. But again, Quinnen Williams, the most important player on defense for the New York Jets. There's a lot of time between now and when I would start to consider this a very serious situation. If we start getting to training camp, we start getting to preseason, and Quinnen Williams is sitting out, and this deal's not done, then you could start to get concerned. But I'm not going to all of a sudden immediately completely flip 180 because Quinnen Williams changed his Twitter bio, and now all of a sudden this is never going to get done. Quinnen Williams is going to get traded. The Jets are going to move on, and this is going to be a disaster. No, it's not. This is going to figure itself out very, very quickly. Sam, I appreciate the commitment to the bit of trolling me in every capacity. I'm going to read the take for the podcast listeners, give them a little Easter egg as to why you should come over and hang out with us on the YouTube channel. Sam has added a take to the show and says, Quinnen Williams has more passing yards than Aaron Rodgers in 2023. And this has been a recurring bit for Sam. At every turn, he has attempted to troll me that Aaron Rodgers is not going to play a ton of games in 2023. And so I appreciate that here, Sam, to start the day. So, again, I think the statistics speak for themselves about how good Quinnen Williams is and where he fits in to where the contracts have already been given out this offseason. Again, those contracts already been given out, sets a parameter that can be worked through here. The agent for Quinnen Williams is always going to ask for the moon. They're always going to ask to maybe approach that Aaron Donald number. The Jets are always going to lowball with their first number, and they're going to be able to slowly bridge the gap and meet in the middle. Does everybody remember when the Aaron Rodgers trade took forever? Took, 6-8 weeks, and everybody was worried that they weren't going to be able to get it done? Well, the Packers started over here, the Jets started over here, and they slowly came to the middle and came to a deal that they both didn't really like in the end, right? They both didn't really love it. They both didn't really like what they gave up, and in the Packers' case, what they got back. So they're going to come to an agreement here. He is the most important player on defense for the New York Jets. If the Jets are going to be successful in 2023, Quinnen Williams needs to be paid, needs to get a contract extension, and needs to be on the field for the New York Jets. And so that's it. That's my overview of this. I'm not reading too much into what's happening. I am completely unwavered in my belief that this deal is going to get done and Quinnen Williams is going to be a member of the New York Jets. And then we've got to keep an eye on the Chris Jones situation in Kansas City because they're in this same boat where they're going to need to be looking at all this context, all this math, and be able to get a deal done on their own for Chris Jones there in Kansas City. So appreciate everybody being here for this show. A little bit of a newsier show. Got back to the old school vibe for TDN Daily and broke down one of the trending topics that we have in the National Football League right now. Please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. We greatly do appreciate it. Come join us on the YouTube side of things. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We have the YouTube version, the live video version of the show. You see all the production. You got the pre-show and the post-show there as well. And if you want, you can go back and watch it on demand at any time on the Draft Network YouTube channel underneath the live tab. So appreciate everybody making this show a part of their day. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Tuttle, we don't need another darkness retreat. We're good. One darkness retreat per offseason is good enough for me. Now, I know I blipped out on the internet. I'm good. Everybody can hear me. Everybody can see me. Doc Rivers fired by the 76ers. Whoa. it's we got to go live again. We got to record. We got to do another show. Wow. Expected. Yeah, I mean, it's not super surprising. But I'm, it's been a disaster. They are expected to pursue, we're now doing a basketball show, Mike Budenholzer, Sam Cassell, Mike D'Antoni, Nick Nurse, Frank Vogel, and Monty Williams in their coaching search. Everybody's just looking at the same 6 names for their coach. Do an NBA show about all the quality NBA coaches being fired for not getting to the conference finals. We can do that. We can do. The post show can be whatever it wants to be, guys. The post show is allowed to be whatever it wants to be. If you guys want to talk about any other NFL stories, I will. I'm going to pull up the NFL subreddit. I just knew we were going to talk about Quinnen today after what happened yesterday. That I've just been spending my time, researching that. So I haven't, gone down this rabbit hole. What do we think? Okay, how about this? We'll do football here for a second. What does everybody think about Peacock getting one NFL playoff game exclusively? What does everybody feel about that? Can I get thoughts? Can I get quick, rapid-fire thoughts on a NFL playoff game that could or could not include our teams being on Peacock? Now, I've got the free version of Peacock, so I'm gonna be able to watch the game, so it doesn't hurt me. Like I'm already in the ecosystem because I watch wrestling. Well, Sam, that's a little disrespectful. You're talking about the animal themselves or the service? I think either way, it's disrespectful. Tuttle says, lame streaming hopscotch sucks. I've never heard it referred to as streaming hopscotch, but I kind of love that, Tuttle. Well, yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet. Let me find it. Yeah, here's the tweet. The NFL is going to broadcast games this season. This is from Sam's favorite person, Ari Miriov. The NFL is going to broadcast games this season on CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, ABC, Amazon, the NFL Network, ESPN Plus, Peacock, and Sunday tickets now on YouTube TV. Like, you're asking a lot of a older generation. That's how we'll put it nicely. Like, I'll speak out of turn here. I think he'll be okay with this. My dad, in his 50s, just moved out of New York. His entire life, it was very simple for him. He would wake up on Sunday, and he would turn on the television, and the New York Jets would be on. It was very easy. The man wanted to watch a Mets game. He knew the channel. You just turn on the channel, and the Mets game's on. He moved. Now lives in another state. He and my mom got out of there, got out of New York, went down to South Carolina. They now live down there. I had to call this man and explain him and got him to sign up for MLB TV so he could watch Mets games. Now I got to explain to this guy how he's going to have to get Jets games? That he's going to have to get Sunday ticket on YouTube TV? You think that's going to be an easy task for me? You think that's going to go well? My dad just refused to even try watching Thursday Night Football last year because of Amazon. I mean, I don't use Prime enough. I used to for a phase, but I don't use Prime enough to justify it throughout the course of the entire year. But during the football season, I'll pay for it because I want Thursday Night Football. What's up, Dylan? What's going on, man? It's very simple, man. They're just gonna pay him. We did the whole show about it. They're gonna pay him. I'm not super worried about it. I'm not overreacting to him changing his Twitter bio. I'm not super worried about it. And I won't get Peacock, so the Jets need to buy. Dylan, can we just start by winning some? Can we just start by having a winning record and winning some football games where we talk about getting a buy and figuring out what streaming service we're going to be on? One step at a time, my dude. One step at a time. You've got now it doesn't really matter, but the Falcons-Jaguars game in London is going to be the game on ESPN Plus, and so you only are going to be able to watch it if you have ESPN Plus. Now, I do for our job because we constantly are looking at, other things, and I like reading ESPN stories, ESPN Plus stories, but like I don't think this is like, tattling on ourselves. When Mel Kiper releases a mock or Todd McShay releases a mock, we're clicking on it and looking at it to see, okay, what names do they have in there that maybe we're not paying attention to, and why do they have that name in there, right? And so ESPN Plus is very important for what we do. But ESPN Plus not important to everybody. And the Falcons-Jags game is going to be in London like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to be an ESPN Plus exclusive. Like, that's crazy. Now, it's easy for me because I'm kind of already in some of these ecosystems. Like, I've already got YouTube TV, so like I'm good. And I get CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN, ABC. I get all those. I get the NFL Network. I already have ESPN Plus. I already subscribe to Peacock. I've got YouTube TV. But man, like, for some people, like, this is gonna be a challenge to watch your team, especially if you're a good team. Because if you're a good team, this is what happens: you get put on all these different places. If you're a bad team, you're just on CBS or Fox or NBC. You know, if you sneak in the rare Sunday night game. So again, it feels as if the NFL knows where their bread is buttered, and they know that they can do this to get all the cash, to continue to make themselves a very popular entity, raise those TV deals. How much do I spend a month on TV subscriptions? It's a great question, Al Bundy. I spend, YouTube TV is like $79.99, I think. I split it with somebody, my roommate. So it's like $35 for that. ESPN Plus. Peacock's free for me. I have the free tier. So I get commercials when I watch stuff live, but that's fine. Dylan, thoughts on the Jets hosting annual Black Friday game? I mean, I'd love it. I'd love it. Yeah, I love YouTube TV. I love it. What happened to the CBS Fox conference split? I had to keep going to CBS for NFC games at confusing amount last year. Philip, I got bad news for you. The conference split's basically done. There are certain games that the two networks and certain teams that the two networks can kind of block on a weekly basis, but the conference split is basically no more. You're going to start seeing NFC games on CBS a ton. You're going to see AFC teams on Fox a ton. Like that they're kind of going on. They're kind of doing away with that. They're kind of doing away with that. And you can't blame them. They kind of need to, because if listen, the NFC does not have the powerhouses that the AFC has. And so if CBS got all the AFC games and Fox got all the NFC games, Fox paying a lot of money to not get the high quality games. And so the NFL kind of needed to do away with that when you go through times like this where the power structure, specifically the quarterback concentration of power, is slanted towards one division or one conference. So Al, those are the two ones: ESPN Plus, YouTube TV, Peacock's free. Which channel will have a random reaction shot of Will Levis? Tuttle, don't be like that. Don't be like that. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with Sunday Ticket, because I've never had Sunday Ticket. It's never been a thing that I've had. But now that it's going to be just there inside my YouTube TV app already, and then I would be able to just watch the Jets game without worrying about it, then maybe I'll do a deep dive. Sam says, I think I'm going to lean more into watching college football this year than the NFL. I'll still watch the big games, but I think I might pass on the low-quality ones. Yeah, I mean, I think for TDN in general, I mean, you guys know that we kind of skew more towards the college side of things. But, you know, for the watch-alongs, we did all NFL watch-alongs last year, and I think we might, don't quote me on this, this is not a promise, I'm just spitballing here, but we might do more college watch-alongs this year for premium content, for premium watch-alongs. So that'd be fun. If you have Game Pass, wouldn't you not need Sunday Ticket? Want to make sure I don't double up. Dylan, I'm not sure. We talking international Game Pass here? We talking international Game Pass with a VPN? Is that what we're talking about? Because if you have that, I think you're okay. But if you have just regular Game Pass, I don't think you can watch games live. Remember when NFL Plus was a thing for that short period of time? Does everyone remember that? When you could watch games local in your market on your tablet or phone, and it never worked? I remember that a lot. But yeah, the games are just everywhere, and that's kind of the problem. I lean to CFB 70-30 last year. I certainly pick and choose NFL much more these days. Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredibly for me. It's easier to watch the standalone primetime games like a Monday night. What else am I really doing? I'll throw the game on while I'm sitting in the office working, and I can do that. But on NFL Sunday, I'm a red zone guy. I'll have the Jets game on my laptop, and I'll be watching that, and then I'll have red zone on the big TV for bets, for fantasy, for anything like that. That's the way that I'll have it breakdown. I will let this be the last call for questions, but it's going to be me giving you guys a question. I've got some ideas for what we're going to do the rest of the week. We've got a great story over at thedraftnetwork.com that I'm thinking about turning into some content here for TDN Daily. But my question to you guys to close out here so that I can get out of here and edit this for the podcast feed. What would you like to see on TDN Daily the rest of the week? Now, it's not, again, not a promise or a guarantee that I'll do it, but I would just love to hear what the listeners of the show would like to see us do. Because I've got a workboard that's got a bunch of different ideas on it. And I've talked about doing the team-by-team previews, and I've got to work on mapping out the schedule to know when we need to start those. And we're going to want to balance them because I don't want to just do 32 of them in a row. I want to balance them out and have, other content on the other days. So go every other day with those. So what would you guys like to see? This will be the last call. What would you guys like to see for the show? Not just this week, but maybe in the short to midterm future so I can start, workshopping some of this stuff. Would love to know. Would love to know what you guys would like to have. That'll be our last call for the day. Top faces in new places. I kind of like that. Top faces in new places. That's good. We'll write that down. Where's my workboard? Gotta pull up my Google Docs here. There it is. TDN Daily Show Idea Workshop. Because I've got written down right now. I've got to verify my account on my own computer. I'm logged into this account. I was just in this email. Unbelievable. Maybe an under 25 team. Oh, under 25 team is good. I've got positional power rankings. Have you guys seen Mike Clay doing his power rankings of position groups? I thought that would be great if I did one of those and we did it as an audio form. I thought that'd be fantastic. Top faces in new places. We're just writing all these down. Under 25 team. We got to start thinking about, college stuff as well. Because TDN Daily last year started in October, and we didn't touch on a ton of college stuff. And so figuring out how we want to kind of wade those waters will be interesting. But all right, Sam, appreciate the suggestions. I've got a couple. If you wanted to do a college theme show, you could do top returning players per position. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm writing these all down. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate everybody making this show a part of their day. We've got some fun stuff. Teams likely to be picking. Oh, I love it. We did this, Toto. We did that on Draft Dudes, did we not? We did a show like that where we did. Yeah, that was. We had a lot of fun doing that. I'll steal it from the guys. They'll be all right with it. So, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate everybody making this show a part of their day. We're out of here. We've got editing to go do. We've got some more content to put together here for the rest of this week. I might do some of these ideas tomorrow. Who knows? So appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate everybody making this show a part of the day. Everybody, great rest of your Tuesday. How come you announce the show is over, then pause 2 seconds, then continue with your podcast? Al Bundy, it's a great question. Does anybody in the chat want to help Al on this one? Or do you want me to tackle it? Does anybody else want to help Al? Or do you want me to tackle it? I can tackle it. I mean, it's up to you guys. So, Al, the way it works is this show also is a podcast. And so there's a podcast feed for TDN Daily, and then there's the YouTube live version of the show. And so in order for a couple of things, I want people to not only listen to the podcast, but I want them to come over and join us on the YouTube side of things. And so we have the pre and the post show that does not get put in the podcast feed. So what you're hearing right now does not end up in the podcast feed. So when I announce the show is over, I'm announcing the show is over for the podcast audience, and then we hop into the post-show hype, the post-show shenanigans, where we're just hanging out, talking ball, doing whatever here, but this doesn't make the ultimate, doesn't make the podcast feed. So at the beginning of the show too, like we do a pre-show and we banter back and forth, and then I say, okay, let's roll, and then I press a record button on my screen that records the show. So there's two different facets to it. So it's just, oh, okay, I mean, Al, it's greatly appreciated that you watch anything. You don't have to listen to both, but I know that we started with an existing podcast audience, and we added the YouTube. So that's my way of promoting the YouTube and promoting what we're doing over here, so that people go and check check it out. Maybe they like it and they hang out. But however you consume the show is greatly appreciated, because those metrics, go hand in hand when we're promoting and talking to potential sponsors and advertisers and things like that. So, but yeah, that's why we do that, because there's a separate podcast version. Like when we're done here, I have to record the intro for that show. I record a little teaser at the top, and then we've got music and all sorts of stuff. You guys don't get to see that part of it here on the YouTube version of the show. So there's two different versions of the show. But all right, everybody, appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate everybody making this show a part of their day. Everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Talk to y'all tomorrow.